with some of their realization, yet year on year, we enjoy it. How is it that we are not bored reading the same pastime again and again? Because it is not the strength or the power that captures the heart of a devotee. It is not the strength or the power of Krishna, but it is the sweetness of Krishna that binds us to him. It is not really, in actuality, Mother Yaśodā binding Krishna, but it is Krishna binding Mother Yaśodā in his thoughts, in his concern, and most importantly, in his love. Similarly, Krishna is again and again trying to bind us into his love. And Damodar month, Kartik month, is yet another opportunity for him to bind us into that love. But then that's the reason why every time we read these verses, every time we go through these pastimes, we smile, right? We smile at the naughtiness of Krishna. We smile at how he runs. We smile at how he's leaving his footprints behind. We smile at all those things. And then we also wonder, how is you, Krishna, Bhagavan, doing all of these? Right? So let's look at today's verses. It yet again captures the sweetness of Krishna and the sweetness of Mother Yashoda's thoughts. So we are reading from Canto 10, chapter 9, text number 12. त्यक्त्वा यस्तिं सुतं भीतं विघ्नया बाकवत्सला ईयेषा किलतं बद्धुं दाम्ना तद्वीर्यकोविदा. Tyaktva, throwing away, Yashtim, the stick in her hand, Sutam, her son, Bhitam, considering her son's great fear, Vignaya, understanding, Arbaka Vatsala, the most affectionate mother of Krishna, Iyesha, desired, Kila, indeed, Tam Krishna, Badum, to bind, Damna, with a rope, Atat Virya Kovida, without knowledge of the supremely powerful personality of Godhead, because of intense love for Krishna. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Mother Yashoda was always overwhelmed by intense love for Krishna, not knowing who Krishna was or how powerful he was. Because of maternal affection for Krishna, she never even cared to know who he was. Therefore, when she saw that her son had been excessively afraid, she threw the stick away and desired to bind him so that he would not commit any further naughty activities. Purport. Mother Yashoda wanted to bind Krishna not in order to chastise him, but because she thought that the child was so restless that he might leave the house in fear. That would be another disturbance. Therefore, because of full affection to stop Krishna from leaving the house, she wanted to bind him with rope. Mother Yashoda wanted to impress upon Krishna that since he was afraid merely to see her stick, he would not perform such disturbing activities as breaking the container of yogurt and butter and distributing its contents to the monkeys. Mother Yashoda did not care to understand who Krishna was and how his power spreads everywhere. This is an example of pure love for Krishna. So Mother Yashoda did not care to understand who Krishna was and how his power spreads everywhere. This is an example of pure love for Krishna. Om Ajnana Dasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtatadesh Tarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So thank you to everyone for joining once again. Today I wanted to start the class by asking a simple question. And it is especially important and relevant if you're a parent or if you have ever cared for someone, which each one of us have at some point in our life. Why do you love your child? Right? The question is, why do you love your child? Is it because they get good grades in their exams? Is it because they are well behaved? Is it because they're very talented? Is it because they're very attractive? What is it? It's certainly not of the four things that I have just said. In fact, even when our kids, children mess up, when they're naughty, even when they break something, we still love them. Right? In fact, sometimes in the moments when they're more vulnerable, we love them even more. We love at their cuteness. Right? So then let me ask you another question. Do we ever stop to think, oh, my child is a gift from Krishna, and I'm just serving them as his representative? Well, why, we might know these things philosophically, but in practice, when our child runs into the room, what happens? We don't remember Bhagavad Gita verses, at least I don't. We certainly don't analyze our karma, we don't analyze our dharma. We just feel love for our children. We just feel spontaneous, natural, unconditional love for our child. And that's exactly the kind of love Mother Yashoda had for Krishna, only that her intensity was much, much more. It is beyond our understanding. But the point of asking these questions is just to give us an idea of love, and more importantly, to give us an idea of what is love in action. Right? We cannot just say, I love you, I love you, I love you, and no action is not going to lead to anything. Love is when there is some action, be it cooking for Krishna, like Maya Yashoda did, singing for Krishna, running after Krishna to bind him, or in our day-to-day basis, when we are chanting for Krishna, everything has to be for the pleasure of Krishna. And that is the first point, that the love is always expressed in action. Without action, love just in words means nothing. Love has to be in action. And in today's verse, we see a perfect example of this kind of love. It says over here, love is so powerful, it is so intimate that Mother Yashoda even forgets that Krishna is God. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that this is not ignorance of Mother Yashoda, but this is a higher spiritual absorption. What does it mean when we say that we love God so much that we actually forget that He is God? What does that mean? It means that your love becomes so intimate, it is so personal, and it is so deep that all the formality and the reverence are replaced by spontaneous affection. We relate to Krishna not as just Supreme Lord, but as a child, as a friend, a lover in some sort of rasa. And this is called Raganuga Bhakti. And this is especially seen in all the residents of Vrindavan, where devotion is so intense and it is so natural. This is important to understand. The devotion is intense and it is very natural. It is naturally that the Vrindavan Vasis are feeling these things, that the awareness of his divinity completely eclipses, completely goes away. Right? We look at the Gopas of Vrindavan as well. The Gopas would sometimes climb on the shoulders of Krishna. Sometimes Krishna would climb on theirs. They would play, they would fight, they would steal food, and yet defeat, Krishna in games. They are not praying to Krishna. They are not afraid of Krishna. They play with Krishna as an equal, right? And Krishna is completely happy in this role because this intimacy is much sweeter than the formal worship, right? This is Raghunaga Bhakti, which was observed in every resident of Vrindavan. So externally, Mother Yashoda looks very ordinary, right? She's just taking care of her child like any other mother. But internally, if every action is done to please Krishna with a lot of love and surrender, then we are walking the path of the greatest souls. As Prabhupada often said, a sweeper in the street can be more advanced than a Brahmana if he's doing it for Krishna. So the point is, Krishna is in the center and love is expressed in action. And we can see through Mother Yashoda, there is complete surrender. In fact, there is much more surrender. Her surrender in Raghunaga Bhakti, let's understand that a little bit. At various places in our scriptures, the 6 lingams of surrender has been explained in Nectar of Devotion, in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And it is said that there is no essential, now listen to this very carefully, there is no essential difference between a fully surrendered soul and a person in the renounced order of life. It is same. There is no essential difference. In fact, the Lord demands that one surrenders onto him by following these 6 limbs of surrender. So Lord demands that surrender. Right? It is not a request, he is demanding it. The very first one is Anukulyasya Sankalpaha. Anukulyasya Sankalpaha, which means accepting what is favorable to Krishna. Anukul, right? Whatever is favorable to Krishna. Mother Yaśodā churns butter herself for Krishna. She has got servants, she's got help. She does it herself because she wants to give the best, most lovingly prepared food to Krishna. Number 2, second one is Pratikul Yasya Varjanam. So this is, the first one was Anukul, this one is Pratikul. So rejecting whatever is unfavorable. So when Krishna breaks the pot of butter and starts to feed the monkeys, she decides to correct his mischief. Not out of anger, but she does that because she wants her son to grow as a well-behaved child. She does not want the world to blame him for something. Right? So again, in her discipline lies her love. So she picked up the stick to discipline him. So she does not tolerate anything that might lead him away from the right conduct. She does everything that leads him to do the right things, even if he is Lord. The third one is Rakshashyati ti Vishwasaha, faith that Krishna will protect. This is actually reverse in Mother Yashoda's case, right? She feels that she must protect Krishna. And even though he is God, she's worried that he might fall, he might get hurt, people might blame him, he might be cold, people might call him thief. So she wants to protect him. And she prays to Vishnu to protect him, to protect his son. So she tied bells to his waist so that she would hear if he would move around, so that she could track the activities of the Lord. So her faith isn't that Krishna will protect her, but that she must protect him, which is the highest form of loving surrender. The fourth one is Guptrave Varnanam, accepting Krishna as maintainer. Yashoda's whole life revolves around caring for Krishna. Right? But paradoxically, what's happening? It is Krishna who maintains her. She is binding Krishna, but it is Krishna who is binding her. Right? So her identity as his mother, her soul's nourishment comes from serving him. Her daily schedule, emotions, everything is around, depends on Krishna's need. So even she thinks that she is taking care of Krishna, the real maintainer is Krishna. Right? So when we depend on him for meaning, when we depend on him for maintaining our life, when we depend on him for our purpose in life, that is not just survival, that is more than that. That is a form of surrender. Number 5th is Atma Nikshipaha, complete self-surrender. When Mother Yaśodā is trying to bind Krishna, she fails repeatedly. We'll see in the coming verses, she's failing repeatedly. The rope is always 2 fingers short, but she doesn't give up. She becomes tired, her hair is loosening up, the flowers are failing, but she keeps on trying and trying. At last, Krishna lets her bind him. When he sees that now Mother Yaśodā is completely exhausted and now she is showing complete surrender, that's when Krishna lets Mother Yaśodā bind him. Right? So Atma Nikshipaha is not saying I surrender. It is continuing in loving service, even when it is hard. We have to continue without demand, without pride. We continue, and we rely on Krishna. And last one is Ananya Nyashaha. Ananya Nyashaha is exclusive surrender. No other shelter but Krishna. It's not like, okay, I'm going to worship demigods a little bit for this, and then I'm going to worship Krishna for this. No. Krishna demands exclusive surrender. Mother Yashoda's entire life, her heart belonged to Krishna alone. She depends completely on him for everything. So we can see in this verse, the words uses Vatsalya Bhav, Vatsalya Rasa, parenthood. And it was not just Mother Yaśodā who was experiencing this, right? What to speak of Mother Yaśodā, even the cows, The elderly cows experienced Vatsalya Rasa. How? When Krishna used to leave in the morning, the elder cows used to stop eating. They used to stand still. They used to weep tears of milk. Why? Out of love and separation. So the cows sees Krishna not just as a master. The cows are seeing Krishna not just as a protector, but they see him as their own child. Some acharyas describe that elder cows used to cry the same way as Mother Yaśodā used to cry when Krishna was out of sight. The elder cows used to stand on the hilltops just to get a glimpse of him, just to get a glimpse of Krishna. Have we ever missed Krishna so much that we have lost our appetite? In fact, when we go to the temple, prasadam is the main attraction for us. We never lose appetite. But these cows were not just passive animals, they were fully conscious devotees. They were fully conscious. And when you become fully conscious, we forget everything, we lose everything. And that is pure Vatsalya Bhakti, pure affection towards Krishna. Krishna, it is mentioned in Gopal Champu that Krishna used to actually remember all the cows' name. We are not talking about 100 of cows over here. We are talking about a much bigger number. He used to call out Kapila, he used to call out Davala, he used to call out Surangi. So he remembered each and everyone's name, and when he used to call out, those cows used to run towards him. In the paintings of Vrindavan, we will see often cows in the background. But these cows in the background reveal a much deeper Vatsalya Bhav, showing again and again the unconditional, very natural, very uncalculated love for Krishna. And Vrajvasis, each and every resident, be it humans, be it animals, or for that matter, be it even trees. Trees used to tremble when Krishna used to pass in ecstasy. They used to pour pure honey from their flowers as tears of love. Right? So even trees used to show human-like characteristics, and trees used to express their loves as well. So the entire environment of Vrindavan is filled with that love. Through our external eyes, we cannot see Vrindavan even now. We need Krishna's mercy to be able to experience Krishna in Vrindavan. Otherwise, we'll be in Vrindavan, yet we won't be able to experience Krishna. Though every wall of Vrindavan will say Radhe, every wall will display the pastimes of Krishna, yet we won't be able to experience Krishna if we don't have his mercy. If we don't go there with full surrender, we won't be able to experience him. So we need to understand the essence, right? It says in the last sentence over here that this is an example of pure love for Krishna. Right? When we discuss of pure love for Krishna, we've already looked at elderly cows, we have looked at gopas, we have looked at the trees. But how can we forget Srila Prabhupada when we are talking about pure examples, pure love for Krishna? Right? Mother Yaśodā forgot that Krishna was God. Srila Prabhupada forgot all his personal comfort, even his own fame. He didn't care about his own health for Krishna. Mother Yaśodā binded Krishna with love. She bound Krishna with love. What did Srila Prabhupada do? Srila Prabhupada bound the entire world to Krishna with love. Mother Yaśodā accepted Krishna out of pure affection. Srila Prabhupada accepted Krishna out of his pure surrender, out of his complete trust. Mother Yaśodā protected Krishna. Srila Prabhupada protected Krishna's mission. Mother Yaśodā never feared any consequence. She still kept on maintaining Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada fearlessly preached in every place in the world, even in Russia. Right? In the early days of Srila Prabhupada's preaching activities in the Western world, when he was at 26th Second Avenue, Srila Prabhupada would personally cook for the deities. He would offer bhoga. He would make flower garlands. He would clean the temple. So once a disciple asked him, "Why are you doing all this all alone?" What did Srila Prabhupada say? Srila Prabhupada said, they are Krishna and Balaram. They are small children. We have to take care of them. So he treated, Srila Prabhupada through his example showed that he treated deities with genuine affection, like a parent caring for children. Not when someone was watching, not just when someone, yesterday I was discussing with my son, what is responsibility? Responsibility is, we came to the conclusion that responsibility is doing the right thing even when no one is watching, right? So even when we are taking care of the deities, even when no one is watching, that is being a responsible devotee. And that is how we show care. And it is not just a ritual, it is a living relationship. We must understand that we are in a living relationship with Krishna. Right. And through Srila Prabhupada's example, we understand he used to display that every now and then. He would not very openly talk about Raganuga Bhakti. But every now and then we could see glimpses of that coming. He actually was an Uttamadhikari devotee, but he came down to the level of Madhyadhikari so he could preach. Because in Raganuga Bhakti, you completely forget everything. And if Srila Prabhupada would forget everything, then how would he preach? But every now and then we used to get glimpses of his love for Krishna. And that's exactly the mood of Mother Yashoda as well. Not worshipping Krishna just from a distance, but lovingly serving Krishna on a day-to-day basis. And Srila Prabhupada did that too. Of course, his rasa was different. He was doing that in the bhav of a servant. Right? In 1966, when Srila Prabhupada was giving lecture, many guests would actually fall asleep. Sometimes people who would come there would argue with him. Sometimes people would actually insult him. But Srila Prabhupada never gave up. Why? Because in each person he saw Krishna's lost child. Like Mother Yashoda was chasing a naughty boy, Srila Prabhupada was actually chasing the naughty souls of Kali Yuga. And he's still chasing them. He's not forgotten about us. And that is not out of anger, but that is out of Srila Prabhupada's love for each one of us. And we have to continue to do that. In this month of Kartik, deepening our sadhana is very important. Improving our chanting is of prime importance. But we have to also assist Srila Prabhupada in his preaching activities. That is critical as well. Right? That is very critical. Yeah. There is a beautiful pastime, and I'm sure you must have heard about him. It is about Crazy Peter. If you haven't heard about him, if you're hearing about him for the first time, you'll completely relish it. So this is a time in Boston. So this is Giriraj Maharaj sharing this pastime. He said that there were hardly any new devotees, but there was a young man named Peter who used to come and sit in the hallway of their little temple. Now, the entrance of the building is such that he used to lean against the wall and he used to he had his legs across. So it was very difficult for people to walk. He would sit there all day, he would sleep, he would eat. The place was getting a bit messy as well. And the devotees naturally was getting very upset. Because the first thing any newcomer comes and sees is that Peter was just laying there at the entrance in not a very good condition. Right? He was slouching as well. So Satswarup Maharaj, what did he do? He wrote to Srila Prabhupada about the situation and he said what to do. You will not believe what did Srila Prabhupada write back. Srila Prabhupada wrote back and said, and if you've heard Srila Prabhupada's classes, you know the way he speaks, right? He says, what's the matter? Can't you tolerate? And that's what he responded with. The answer was, could you not tolerate it? Right? The devotees, the disciples felt very uneasy, but they started tolerating it because that was an instruction from Srila Prabhupada. And then they started calling him Crazy Peter. After some days, Crazy Peter left Boston. He went to New York. And because it was a family of it was a small family of some disciples, whatever was happening in Boston, whatever was happening in New York, everyone knew what was happening. So Giriraj Maharaj inquired, what happened to Crazy Peter? So then they said the Peter has gone to he's gone to New Vrindavan now, and he's doing very well. And he was going to be initiated now. And Giriraj Maharaj was completely amazed because he had lost completely, he had lost track of crazy Peter. And about 20 years later, when Giriraj Maharaj saw Peter again, what was Peter doing? He was at Mangala Aarti, and Giriraj Maharaj asked, "Who is that?" And the devotee said, "He is Kushakrita Prabhu." And then Giriraj Maharaj thought, "My God, how merciful is Srila Prabhupada. By his mercy and compassion, crazy Peter, in whom we could not see any potential, has come to a stage where he was actually now translating Vaishnava literature." So we can see, we can understand Srila Prabhupada's mood. Srila Prabhupada wanted to intensely engage each and every one in Krishna's service and act in Krishna's in Krishna consciousness. He saw potential in everyone, and he wanted to give everyone a chance. He wanted to give everyone a chance to serve. He was not like us, where he wanted to get all the mercy. When we give mercy, when we distribute mercy, we get more mercy. And in the month of Damodar, some devotees go inward, which is great. But if we really go inward, we must go out and preach, and we must have the same mood of compassion. This is the month of Srimati Radharani, and we receive Srimati Radharani's special attention, because when she sees that this particular devotee is going out and spreading Krishna's name, that's when we get her special mercy. That's when we get her special love. In a world where everything is about self-love, self-care, self-discipline, there are like podcast on all these topics. Let's do something which is not just about self. Let's do something where we are giving something. Because Srila Prabhupada had that mode. Srila Prabhupada did that out of compassion for the fallen, conditioned soul. He gave up his life. Right? Srila Prabhupada always reminds me of a beautiful song that was written in his honor. And the song was, "When I see his love, I know I have a long, long way to go. When will I taste the love that he is feeling in his heart?" And my dear devotees, we will feel the love that he is feeling in his heart when we show compassion for the fallen, conditioned souls around us, when we show compassion for our peers, when we show compassion for each and everyone around us. Today is a special day. Today is Bahula Ashtami, appearance day of Radhakund. How did Radhakund appear? Because of the compassion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited Govardhan, he came to a small place and he saw two small ponds, and upon seeing the ponds, he became overwhelmed with ecstasy. He rolled onto the ground. He started crying. He started crying out, shouting loudly, "This is Radhakund, this is Shamakund." And the local villagers had completely forgotten about him, that this liquid form of Radha and Krishna's love existed. So it is because of the compassion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that we get to experience the liquid form of Radha and Krishna's love. And it is said in Nectar of Instruction that Radha Kund is the most exalted place of all. Amongst all the holy places, Radha Kund is topmost, right? So today, on this special day, I pray that we take a step closer from duty to devotion. Let's pray for that. And if we get time today, let's read about Bahula the cow, her honesty, her commitment. Let's read about appearance of Radhakund. It's a beautiful pastime, very sweet pastimes. We'll be able to experience the sweetness of Lord Krishna in that. It's 7 o'clock, and if you have anything to share, any realizations, any any comments to make, anything to add to Krishna's sweetness, please go ahead, unmute yourself and share that with us, please. Okay, then. Thank you for everyone for joining this morning for the study of Srimad Bhagavatam. We'll see you again tomorrow, where we'll relish more sweetness of Krishna. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare
Thank you, Mataji, for
Krishna,
beautiful class.
Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank
Hare
you.
Beautiful class.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.